Hi folks, Matthew here from Fizz and Ginger Films in the hub of our new venture, Creative Screen Retreats in South Norfolk in the UK. I was going to do one of these little videos anyway, think about this. And then I had a comment on one of the videos essentially saying, yeah, so who are you to be teaching this stuff in the current climate where it's wobbly to say the least, as we keep saying. And it's a very good question. Very well put. Blunt. That's what we like. Let's get on with it. So, 1996. Yeah, I'm going to go back that far. I was 16, got my first screen acting job. So I started off as an actor. So I did a few of those jobs, and then I went to drama school, Rose Bruford's, purely because Gary Oldman went there, because he's a legend, isn't he? And I came out thinking, I should be Hamlet at the National Theatre. I wasn't. I basically went straight into screen stuff, and I was very lucky. Didn't always feel it at the time, but I ended up doing about 17 feature films, most of them indie, but lots of fun, and I was working, which is great. But I always loved being on the other side of things. 2009, Tori, who's now my wife, and we co-founded Fizz and Ginger Films. Since then, I've produced 10 feature films. I've directed 5, had global cinematic releases with at least 3 of them. And to put that into context, I wouldn't normally say it like this, but that basically puts me in the top 2% of British filmmakers to reach that number of films. And I think it's something like 8.6% of the world's filmmakers. Now, that does not mean I know everything by any means at all. Every day I'm learning new things. That's partly why I love doing this stuff. So, on that note, skip to about 2017, I think, 2018, having various conversations. Long story short, I noticed that self-tapes that were coming through for other projects, not just ours that we were working on, from actors we knew were brilliant, we'd seen in showcases or in the theatre, that brilliance just wasn't coming across. And it took a year or so of kind of things percolating in my brain to go, well, let's start breaking this down. Why are these actors who I know are brilliant, why is that not coming across when they come on screen? They've been to drama school, they've done 3 years, which I do think is important, some kind of training, whatever that is, evening classes, and they've done screen acting stuff. It's never a lot at drama school. Let's leave that there. But it just wasn't coming across. So I started speaking to other directors and editors about what they would like, what they need from screen actors. So I started working on a few different ideas, teaching screen acting from a director's perspective. So for the past almost 10 years, I have been experimenting at some of the top UK drama schools, sometimes for months and months and months and months, working on how we elevate actors' performances. It's not instead of that training. It's not a methodology. It's just a technical perspective, which is inescapable because this relationship your audience have won demands certain things that you cannot escape from. So therefore, if you learn how to use it, work with the camera rather than against it, or just I'm acting or capturing what I'm doing and being at the whim of the editor, it's finding ways to elevate your performance technically. It's not rocket science. It's hard, don't get me wrong, but it's all there if you spend, quite some years deconstructing what's needed, basically. So that's what I've been doing. And it was the kernel of the idea of starting Creative Screen Retreats. At the same time, Tori and I have been mentoring filmmakers for quite a while now, partly because we both trained as actors. We didn't know how to make films. We were just making things up as we went along. But because of that, we found our own ways of doing things. It meant that we got known for doing a lot with a little. So a 60 grand film can end up in cinemas around the world, making its money back, which is important. I'm not being cynical, but if you make your money back, you're very likely to make another film. That's what happened in the book as well. If you haven't read the book, Full to the Brim with Fizz, Ginger and Fierce Determination, came out in 2021. We wrote it in 2019. So there's some things that already now I would suggest are obsolete because the industry moves incredibly quickly, which is also why it's not just us teaching this stuff. So for each retreat, the first one is horror writing. So Jed Shepherd of Host and Dashcam fame and working with Blumhouse and all sorts of amazing people, he's going to come on as well. So it's not just our perspective. It's not just us teaching these things. It's people who are at the very least the same level of us, but hopefully have done more or bigger things. That is what is helpful for you. That's the point of us doing this. And the acting things will have other filmmakers, screen actors coming on board for their masterclasses, Q&As, things like that. But also the whole place is being shaped by people at even higher level, like Ian McKellen, Coneth Hill, Jonathan Hyde, and various others, which we are in the middle of signing up. So it's not just us. So from a credential point of view, what are your credentials? Basically, that's what the question was. That's us. I hope that answers some questions. If you do have questions about this stuff, about what we're actually doing here, I'm going to keep trying to do videos to explain things, but that's already probably about 3 hours long. I once did an 8-hour lecture at Oxford about this stuff. I think they were allowed a break, and I didn't cover it all. So I hope this is of interest to you. We're trying to be of service as best we can. Our good friend Giles Alderson from the Filmmakers Podcast. Hello, sir. I never remember the wording, but at the end of every podcast for the last over 500 episodes now, they say, if you've risen to a certain point, it's your duty to send the elevator back down again. And that's kind of what we feel at the moment. That's why we're going to do these retreats. There might only be 5 of them in the year. We won't do them every year, but we're going to go off and make films as well, bring back new knowledge for you. I hope that helps. And I hope I actually switch this on, because that's quite a long video.